If you are listening to this, I beg of you, spread the word to your family, friends, and to whoever you know. I am the victim of something terrible, something that no child should go through. I was around 6 years old at that time, and my family was going through a very rough time. They had to work day and night just so we can barely afford to eat the cheapest goy slop there is. This means that they had no time to care for me, so they had to send me to a daycare. All the daycares were very expensive except for one. Its full official name was the LGBTQ-friendly Zellig Daycare, but everyone called it the Jonesy Daycare. My parents did no further research and immediately signed me up for it. When they told me about it, I was thrilled. I felt very lonely at home, and I was on the verge of developing schizophrenia due to the prolonged absence of my parents. But now I finally had the opportunity to socialize with kids around my age. The Jonesy Daycare was only a few blocks away, meaning I had to walk to get there. My parents gave me one piece of advice, and that was to not interact with any of the brown people that I saw on the streets. I didn't understand it at the time, but that advice most likely saved my life. On the way to the Jonesy Daycare, there were many crackheads, and I am still surprised to this day how they didn't kidnap me and sell me to gypsies. I don't remember much of the way to the daycare, but there was one thing I noticed. The closer I got to the Jonesy Daycare, the blacker the crackheads became. You see, the Jonesy Daycare was located in the most nigger-filled street in the entire city. Not even the police dared to enter it. Everyone called the street the Zellig Pedo Street due to the amount of Zellig pedos and cucks residing there. When I reached the street, it looked worse than the worst streets of Mumbai. The most common complexion of the Zellig pedo was Vanta black, only a very small amount of them being brown. A lot of them also had dyed orange hair and wore red bow ties on their heads. This scared me a lot, not because of their Vanta black skin, but because of their dyed orange hair. Faggots were my worst fear at that time. They also shat on the streets and commonly spoke in Ebonics. A lot of them were also naked, stroking their TBPs to whatever they were looking at on their phones. I tried my best to avoid them, but a lot of the Zellig pedos stared at me, some out of pedophilic arousal and some out of hatred due to my white skin. I'd very commonly hear stuff like, "Go back to where you came from, white boy," and "built for BBC and shit." At the time, I had no idea what any of these phrases meant, but there had to have been some kind of divine intervention from Hashem that prevented me from getting brutally raped. I remember that a Zellig pedo walked up to me. He was wearing a red hoodie, though beat, it was covered in shit and cum stains. He looked very aggressive, as if he had rabies. "Hey, white boy, do you got any shekels for a nigger like me?" the Zellig pedo said. I completely froze at the sight of the Vanta black Zellig pedo. The stench coming off of him made me shiver. I was on the verge of crying, so all I did was scream and run away. The Zellig pedo tried to catch up to me, but fortunately all Zellig pedos are either below 100 pounds or above 600 pounds, so any amount of physical exercise would make them severely exhausted. Another obsessed white boy, mind broken by my BBC aura and sheet, screamed the Zellig pedo. After a while of running, I finally made it. I made it to the Jonesy Daycare. The windows were broken and boarded up, and once I entered inside, there were a ton of pride flags and very suggestive art of ongezellig characters. At the time, I didn't think much of it, but looking back at it, it's a miracle I didn't get groomed. The receptionist, who was a tall, underweight ESL shitskin, saw me and was very confused as to why a white boy was here. I explained to him I was here for the daycare. The shitskin smiled and told me to follow him. He led me to where all the kids are. They were diverse in complex. Many of the kids were either shitskin or Vanta black, but only around 3 were as white as me. I shivered at the sight of the shitskins, and I instantly went towards the white kids, feeling safer with them. I received strange looks from the brown kids. I assumed they were jealous because they weren't as white as me. After waiting for a while, there Jonesy was. He can only be described as ominous. His hair was poorly dyed yellow, and it looked uncanny alongside his black skin. Hello, me children. For those who do not knows about I am Jonesy. For the first activity in sheet, I will be teaching you on how P is just a drawing and has no consequences. Algo. At the time, I didn't know what P was, neither did any of the white kids. Jonesy was explaining how P doesn't hurt real children, and that they're just drawings, and that anyone who disagrees is a moral cuck chud who should mind his own heckin' business. Lastly, he said that he and his Jewish friend Ben goon to zellig P every day, and that they would never, ever force himself onto a kid. At the end of the lecture, all of the brown children clapped. I was very confused as to what was happening, and everything was so friggin' incomprehensible to me. For the next activity, Jonesy was teaching us how there is nothing wrong with loving your cousin, and that love is love. One of the white kids immediately objected, saying that he has a physically and mentally disabled brother because his dad impregnated his sister. All the brown kids called him an obsessed gringo or something, and Jonesy said immediately that it's time for free time. He went up towards the white kid and told him that he has to re-educate him personally. Jonesy took the white boy by his arm and led him down the hallway and into a room. Now there were only 3 white kids, including me, in the room. The brown kids segregated us, as if we would want to voluntarily hang out with them anyways. All the brown kids did was talk about zellig P and how they can't wait for the day when Jonesy shows them a video of P. Minutes after minutes, Jonesy and the white boy haven't returned yet. I was starting to worry for the white kid, so I went towards the hallway to check on him. I couldn't hear it quite well, but I heard some sort of whimpering and yelling coming from there. My curiosity got the better of me, and I slowly went down the hallway. The sounds grew louder and louder, and when I peeked through the keyhole, I saw something that still sends shivers down my spine to this day. Jonesy was forcing the kid to play The Coffin of Andy and Laylee, and he kept yelling at him, saying how it's completely normal to want to love your cousin. Jonesy was also about to show the kid zellig P to re-educate him, and at the sight of I accidentally gasped too loudly. Jonesy immediately turned to the door. I immediately turned away and started running down the hallway, but Jonesy unfortunately saw me. He yelled at me and started chasing after me. I was running for the exit, but the fattest, ugliest, brappiest Vanta black kid grabbed me and said, "Now, gringo, why would yous wants to be leaving the Jonesy daycare and sheet?" I tried struggling, but to no avail. All the shit-skinned children immediately hurtled up against me. I could barely move a muscle. Jonesy then arrived, saying, "Obsessed gringo, why was you spying on me, algo? For yours punishment, Crocker, I will turn yous into a little girl and dye your hair orange, so yous can looks just like my and sheet. After that, I will have fun with you day and night. My little my. I was screaming and crying at the same time. I was happy being a boy. I didn't want to become transgender due to Jonesy's disgusting desires. I was only 6 at the time. I didn't want my life to be ruined so early on. The white kids could only stare at me with grief, as there was nothing they can do against the horde of shit-skinned children. At that moment, an idea came into my mind. I yelled out that in the staff rooms, Jonesy is hiding stashes of zellig pea. Instantly after hearing this, all the shit-skinned children let go of me and began running towards the hallway, trampling Jonesy in the process. This was my time, and I began running for the exit. The receptionist saw me and immediately tried to catch me, but fortunately I just managed to escape his grasp. After I've left the Jonesy daycare, I yelled out again, this time to all the zellig pedos in the street, telling them that there is unlimited zellig pea in the Jonesy daycare. They all stopped touching their peckers and got up and flooded the Jonesy daycare. I did this to prevent from any of the Jonesy daycare staff from catching me. I ran as fast as I can, crying whilst doing so. I sprinted all the way to my house, and the moment I got in, I collapsed from exhaustion. I woke up on the couch and my parents were worried and asked me what had happened. I explained them everything. They immediately signed me out of Jonesy daycare, and I did not return to it. I did not deserve to live through such a traumatic experience at 6 years old. I couldn't sleep for months after the incident. Today I have severe PTSD of ongezellig and black people. I have to take a lot of meds so I don't kill myself. To everyone watching this video, take this as a warning and never take your children to the Jonesy daycare.